Hi. So I just want to make this video really quickly. Um, it's just about the news. I have been feeling for maybe I would say since the coronavirus really started that the news has been changing and the news has changed and God really told me and put it on my heart that the news had sped up its tempo. Um, Kind of like if the news were like the beat of the world that we were all dancing to, and before it had a pretty moderate beat. Like he was just saying, it sped up its tempo, and the news just has changed. It's very different. Like it's more propaganda like now. The news is more dictative. Like it's more like telling you what to think nowadays and how to think, more so than giving you information. I feel like even though it's still giving you information, it's like telling you more so what you should be thinking about. It's more assertive. The news has become more assertive since the coronavirus started. um I noticed that it's more news as well. And I just really see the news coming into this function of being like this, like dictator, like dictation of information that's not just adding to your experience, but that is really trying to shape your experience. That is really trying to make your experience. It's no longer like an option. It's kind of like it's kind of like a boyfriend that used to be nice and now he's like threatening you. Like I kind of feel like the news is it just changed so much. For example, like I was just looking at some of the headlines on YouTube, which is the main source for me where I see the news. There are a lot of like news networks like NBC, Fox, they all have YouTubes. And the headlines I see are just telling you how to think. I'm trying to think of one I just saw that really triggered me to want to make this video. Um, it was about the Nashville explosion, how it was connected to 5G paranoia. And um, I really think that the news is now functioning very overtly similar to the KGB news in Russian USSR type of propaganda news. Um, the way they're functioning, it's almost like the news is labeling and giving names to things so that people dismiss them and do not think more deeply about things. Like, for example, when the news came out with the term conspiracy theorists, then people were no longer willing to listen or consider theories that were outside of the norm that the news would usually talk about. Or, for example, I just saw the news using the term paranoia. So they're saying 5G paranoia. So now I bet the next thing you know, everybody's going to be calling everything surrounding 5G. If anyone has any oppositions or suspicions towards it, that's now labeled as paranoia, which is very similar, not far off, if not the same thing as conspiracy theorists. So basically, it's the same thing as the KGB did. All any and all dissent during that time was shamed and shunned and basically politically incorrect in its own way. And if you really think about it, the whole term politically incorrect is another way to really get people's minds to shut down. Like if people feel like they're going into a politically incorrect area, it's really a way of censorship without enforcing it. It's like self enforcing, like autonomous form of censorship that people enforce their own selves just based off of fear, not wanting to go into those areas. And really, if you study like communist Russia, if you look at some of the things that they did during that time, the KGB, the USSR, these are the tactics that they use. They use things like certain terms that got people to completely turn off to certain subjects. They use censorship just like the social media is doing right now. And they use propaganda just like the news is using right now. So I just have been looking at those things, just seeing it, and I'm just amazed and disgusted at how things are turning out right now and how they're using censorship against people, and really to be terming these specific words like to be using words like conspiracy theorists, and to be using words like 5G paranoia. You know, these are terms that really slap a red tape and a red label that make people not want to go beyond it, and really make people not want to think harder. And therefore, people that want to maintain control over these things can more easily maintain control. And so I don't like that. I really don't like that, because it is a form of, I just don't like it. It's not good. It's not good. People should be allowed to think, and the news is no longer just being used to proliferate information. At this point, it's being used to control.